The Omega beams stand as one of the most extraordinary manifestations of cosmic energy ever described. They are not just ordinary blasts of destructive light, they are a controlled expression of the Omega effect, a limitless energy field tied to the very fabric of the multiverse. Unlike conventional energy attacks that move in straight lines or disperse upon impact, these beams possess a living precision. They can bend, twist, and even chase their targets across impossible trajectories. Once they lock on, escape is nearly impossible because the energy itself seems to think, adjusting its path with uncanny accuracy. The Omega beams do not merely destroy matter, they erase existence. By disintegrating and dispersing molecular structures, they remove any trace that a target ever existed. Some accounts even suggest that they can transport their targets across space and time, demonstrating that the same energy used to annihilate can also be used to move or reshape. Yet, despite this nearly omnipotent reputation, not every being succumbs to their touch. Somewhere within the vast multiverse exist entities capable of resisting or even nullifying this impossible power. Among the few who can escape the destructive certainty of the Omega beams, the Flash stands out for reasons that go far beyond simple speed. His protection is not based on dodging or outrunning the attack. It lies in the nature of the energy that empowers him, the Speed Force. This source is not a limited or localized field, but an omnipresent dimension of motion and energy that exists throughout the multiverse. Because the Flash is directly connected to it, he doesn't just move through space and time, he moves between them. The Omega beams rely on tracking targets across spatial coordinates, bending through reality until contact is made. The Flash undermines that tracking mechanism entirely. By adjusting his vibrational frequency at the molecular level, he can phase his body out of alignment with ordinary matter and energy. This means the beams can no longer interact with his physical structure, they simply pass through. The process isn't an act of shielding or resistance, but dimensional phasing, where his atoms temporarily exist outside the range of any known energy effect. The mastery of his molecular vibration goes even further. The Flash can fine-tune his frequency to phase through not only solid objects, but also radiation and energy-based attacks. In doing so, he effectively cancels out the destructive capacity of the Omega effect by shifting into a state where its energy cannot reach him. Another factor is his ability to traverse dimensional and temporal barriers. The Speed Force allows him to break the boundaries of both space and time, meaning that even if the Omega beams lock on, their pursuit becomes meaningless once he crosses into another temporal layer or parallel continuum. What appears as instantaneous escape is in reality a complete shift of existence from one frame of reality to another. This combination of vibrational manipulation, dimensional traversal, and energy phase alignment forms a seamless explanation for his immunity. Rather than countering the Omega beams with equal force, the Flash simply moves to a level of existence the beams cannot reach. If the Flash avoids the Omega beams by leaving their plane of effect, how does another being, one who cannot rely on dimensional escape, manage to withstand the same attack without moving at all? Why Superman is immune to the Omega beams? Unlike the Flash, who avoids the Omega beams by shifting beyond their reach, Superman withstands them directly. Superman's body is naturally adapted to absorb and withstand immense amounts of energy. He has endured electrical surges and energy outputs far beyond what most beings could survive. The Omega beams, powerful enough to disintegrate planets or erase targets from existence, fail to penetrate his body because his biological structure is tuned to absorb and redistribute energy instead of breaking under it. His cells operate as miniature energy converters, turning hostile radiation or force into harmless kinetic or thermal output. This natural conversion process prevents the Omega beams from inflicting their intended molecular disintegration. Yet, absorption alone doesn't explain complete immunity. The deeper explanation lies in Superman's ability to vibrate his molecular structure with precise control. By altering the speed and rhythm of his atomic motion, he can temporarily enter an intangible state, allowing even high-energy attacks to pass through him without interaction. This vibrational technique, though similar in function to the Flash's phasing, is achieved through raw physical control rather than a connection to an external energy field. His molecular frequency adjustment disrupts the coherence of incoming energy, breaking its destructive pattern before it can destabilize his matter. Superman's mastery of this internal vibration extends to levels few can perceive. He can reach frequencies that make light fail to reflect off his body, rendering him invisible, or even move through the space between spaces, a narrow vibrational plane that sits beyond normal physical perception. Within this state, destructive forces, such as the Omega beams, lose their reference point, unable to maintain contact with his atoms. The synthesis of these two capacities, near limitless energy resilience and molecular phase control, explains why he can not only survive the Omega beams, but also deflect them. Still, this invites a deeper question. If Superman resists by mastering energy and matter within himself, what would happen if an entity existed whose power didn't need to resist or evade, but could consume the Omega beams entirely? While the Flash avoids the Omega beams by leaving their plane of effect and Superman endures them through his physical and molecular control, Galactus neutralizes them in a completely different way, through absorption. His power is not defensive in the traditional sense. It is consumptive. His very existence depends on feeding on the life force of planets and stars, transforming their essence into the energy energy that sustains him. This same principle explains why the Omega beams fail to destroy him. The Omega effect functions by unraveling molecular structures, but Galactus operates on a level where matter and energy are interchangeable resources. Rather than resisting the Omega beams, he integrates their energy into his own system. His body and armor can generate energy shields so dense that they disintegrate incoming matter on contact. These barriers do not merely block attacks, they actively dismantle hostile energy and redirect it into a neutral or useful form. The Omega beams, designed to erase existence, lose their destructive nature once absorbed and converted by this process. Galactus has demonstrated the capacity to absorb attacks fueled by dark matter and cosmic radiation, forces comparable in scale to the Omega effect. He has even drawn in the energy of entire domains and alternate universes. Because of this adaptability, the Omega beams cannot maintain dominance over his structure. Their essence simply becomes part of his energy equilibrium. This ability to consume and recycle energy means Galactus doesn't need to evade or deflect. The more powerful the energy directed at him, the more he can draw from it. His power functions as a self-sustaining system where destruction transforms into nourishment. As a result, the Omega beams become ineffective not because they lack strength, but because their energy is reclaimed before it can achieve disintegration.